This first project in Province Stats, we're going to be looking at sampling and summarizing some data. So you'll go in and under content and materials, then click on the project. And I'm going to open these in a new tab. And here we have the description of the project, easy to download by just doing File, Download As, and you can download it as a PDF or a Word document or whatever format you might want. Here we have the instructions. You're going to want to have a Word document and an Excel spreadsheet to work with in this project. And the idea with the spreadsheet, if we go back over here and download this data, the idea with the spreadsheet is it's a useful way of organizing data in cells that are arranged in rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and columns A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And if we download this, clicking this little download link here, then we get a spreadsheet that we can work with. And as we go along, we'll be using some different tools with this, some formulas and different things. But the nice thing is if we have a big data set, and in this case here, sort of jumping down to the bottom, we see we have 46,000 values almost here that we're going to be working with. The nice thing is that spreadsheets allow us to be able to crunch numbers on an entire data set like this pretty easily. What I want to look at first, though, is sampling. And so the first step of the project is creating a random sample. And the easiest way to do that is to generate some random numbers. So at this point, this data, it's sort of hard to tell how it's organized. Looking at it, I don't see a easy way of telling sort of what the current order is in our data set here. If I right click on column B up top here and do insert, it puts another column in. And I'm going to do that just to the right of the date. You can do it anywhere really. And then in this top cell here, I'm just going to title this column random. And what I want to do is generate some random numbers. Now with Excel, if you want to have a formula in a cell in a spreadsheet, we hit equals first of all, and then we tell it what the formula is going to be. And there's lots of different ones we can use, but for random, we just do RAND, and then you put open and close parentheses there. What that does is it generates a random number between 0 and 1. So we have here 0.855, and if I open this up a little bit more, we see it goes out several decimal places. I'm going to click in that cell again, and then that bottom right corner where there's that little box, I'm going to double click on it, and it copies that formula all the way down the spreadsheet. Now at this point, that column is all random. And what we want to do, there's different ways on different machines where you'll find this, but there's a little funnel which says A to Z. We can do sort smallest to largest on that. I'm actually going to go ahead and hit filter. We'll see why that's going to be useful later. Filter allows us to sort of select certain things, but it also puts a little drop down on each box here, and I can sort this ascending or descending. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to sort ascending in this case. And what it did was it used the random number that was in there to sort the data by that column, and then we get a new random number. So it doesn't look like it's in order, but it did shuffle the entire set of data. And at this point, once you've done this, your data is going to be in a completely different order from anybody else's in the class. And so what we want to do is select from this first cell here. You just click inside that cell and then click and drag down, and we want to get 250 data values. So we need to get on 251 since we have that little header row in there. So I go down to 251, release that, create a new sheet by clicking the little plus down here and paste that in. And it didn't copy it. So let me try copying it again. Right click, copy, and then go onto my new sheet that I've created and do this. And I want to retitle this sheet as the sample. That way I know, okay, here's the sample, the SQF, this was the entire data set. And so now we have a table of data from our sample. that we can work with. And then I ask you to describe how, if you were working with this original data set over here, how would you go about getting a systematic sample? How could you go about getting a convenient sample from the original data, stratified and cluster? And there's a couple different ways you could do each of those. So I want to sort of get some insight into how you perceive we would do that from this. So write those up in a couple sentences in your Word document. So that's how we get our sample.